Hello Coachvox creators, it's Ben here, and in this video we're going to teach your Coachvox AI all about you, your style and your tone. Let's get into it. So here we are in training room 1, style and tone, and this page is in 2 sections. So we're going to look at the first one first, about you, and you'll see that there are 3 sections that we need to complete. So let's look at the first one, who you are. In this box, we're going to tell your AI all about you. Now, we've limited the amount of characters you have for each section, and that's so that we don't give the AI way too much information and leave it down to its interpretation of what is and isn't important. So we want to stick to the most important pieces of information about you. You want to focus on your accolades and achievements professionally mainly, because probably your AI is going to be used in a more professional capacity, and that's where we want to highlight our credibility and our experience. So I'll show you what I've put for myself. Now there's a little bit there about Coachvox AI and also a couple of the things that I do outside of Coachvox AI. And that's just enough to give the model enough information about me so that it can kind of start to embody who I am as a person. With the who you are section, we recommend that you write that in third person just to ensure that your name is in there so that AI is more sure about who it's actually representing. For the other 2 boxes, it doesn't really matter whether you use first or third person. I've actually gone back to first person for those. So after who you are, we have your approach to helping people. Now, this is a slightly more nuanced way of describing your approach to coaching or mentoring over and above what we're going to do with the style sliders in the second half of this page. So here we want to make sure that we describe how we help people get to the desired outcome. So that's the important thing to focus on here. What do you want to achieve for the people interacting with your AI? Is it to grow their business? Is it for them to feel happier? For me, it's helping them make decisions about their lifestyle in my Coachvox AI example. Finally, we have your personality and tone of voice. And this one's really important. So we don't just have a very generic sounding AI. We want to make sure that it sounds like you. And this is the best opportunity you have to really give it a description of the way you want to interact. So be bold with your personality claims, even kind of create a caricature of who you are to make sure that comes through and gives your AI a bit of a personality. So something to bear in mind through all of these text-based sections on Training Room 1 is to be clear and concise, because we don't want to leave anything up to interpretation. We don't want to confuse the AI. And also we want to double check our spelling and grammar. So most of the time it won't pull through a spelling mistake, but if you've spelt a brand name wrong or someone's name wrong, it won't necessarily know that that's a spelling error, so it could get pulled through, and any spelling or grammatical issues might just add to any potential confusion. So it's really important to double check your text, maybe run it through an error checker or ask someone to proofread it for you, and they can just make sure A, there's no spelling and grammatic errors, but also B, they can kind of give you a second opinion on whether they think that's an accurate representation of you. So the second part of Training Room 1 is the style sliders. Now this is a really fast way that we can get your AI to embody your style and tone of voice. And all you're going to do is simply select where on each scale you sit in terms of your style. So with a coaching to mentoring style, the coach is going to ask more questions and hold more space. With more mentoring style, they're going to tend to give more direct advice. The second slider is the empathetic to straight talking one. And of course, all your AI models are going to be empathetic, but it's mainly the style in which it comes across. Does it come across really empathetic and understanding, or does it come across more straight talking and giving more tough love? Short to long responses, that's fairly self-explanatory. With short, it's going to be far more succinct, and with the longer responses, they might go into more detail. The formal to informal slider generally relates to the type of language that your AI is using. Accepting to challenging, this one is whether ultimately your AI accepts what the client is saying is true, or whether they want to push back and challenge some of the underlying beliefs that person has after they've made a statement. Serious to jovial is pretty much how serious or jokey we want our AI to be when it's interacting. Now, all of these individual sliders are prompted separately. Now, this means that any single combination, of which there are thousands, do work. However, there are a couple of pairs that tend to work well together. So, for example, the coaching and mentoring style, as well as the empathetic and straight talking slider, tend to work well when they're quite closely matched. That's because a coaching style is probably similar, akin to an empathetic style, and vice versa. The other two that work together fairly well are the formal to informal slider and the serious to jovial slider. Now, those two, they can be at the absolute opposite ends, but in general, someone who's more informal is likely to be a bit more jovial, and vice versa. Now, just for additional detail, wherever you select the point on the sliders, you'll get a bit of a description for what that means, just so you're absolutely clear. And of course, at any point, you can come back and make changes to Training Room 1 and see how that reflects in the actual conversations that you're having with your AI, either live or in fine tuning, which is Training Room 6. One final thing to note is whenever you've done updating your profile, make sure you hit save down here and wait for the success message in the bottom right-hand corner. Right, that's it for Training Room 1. I'll see you in the next one.